Hey everybody, ZealousTown here with the review of the Power Rangers Samurai Clawzord. Or Samurai Clawzord, that's what it says on the box, but anyway, this mode is just the Clawzord. In Japan it was Ebi Origami, in the lobster mode anyway. So yeah, he's a very good size. He's quite hefty actually. I don't have a DaiKaiOh, but I'm guessing that this guy is significantly lighter just because there are certain aspects of it that I have seen that just show how much bulkier the DaiKaiOh is. Plus, this guy has no electronics, but he's very, very accurate, and it just seems like they put a lot more attention and care into him and getting him accurate than they did with the Samurai Megazord. He really does. He really is just a big pile of snaz. So his claws do open and close and such, as you would expect. You can kind of pose the tail a little bit. And actually, because of one of the later combinations, if you really wanted to, you could snap in the squid and have it right on top, if you wanted. He also does have these two little orange pegs here for pegging on a 4-inch Ranger. They don't work so well with the little Gold Ranger that came with the Octozord, just because his feet are just they're sculpted a little too close together. But this guy is just really cool. I really like the design and the colors of this thing in all of its modes. So, and it does do a lot, so we'll get right to it. To transform it to the Claw Battle Zord, aka DaiKaiOh, the first thing we're going to do is pick off the little tail fin, which has a very nice foil sticker. I really do like that. But then we'll just lift up those legs and plug it in on the belly of the lobster. Starting to come undone a little bit. And fold those back down. We'll come back around, split the tail in half, rotate as such, and then rotate the feet 180 degrees so he can stand. Now, one thing that's not in the directions but I do like to do for cosmetics is I switch the arms around between the lobster and robot modes, because if you don't and you just rotate them down, one mode or another is going to have screw holes showing, and we hate screw holes. We do. So you just flip the claws up to form shoulders. The lobster legs can fold down like that, the front ones. And then we just rip his head off, which is actually on very securely. It's actually quite a challenge to get that off without it just ripping one half off and not the other. But each one will... there's one with a hole and one with a peg, and one set of legs has a hole and the other a peg, so yes, A and B, folks, A and B. But there you go for his backside, and this is Claw Battle Zord in his East mode, which is the default mode. DaiKaiOh in Japan, I'm sorry, I don't know the Japanese words for their directions, north, south, east, west, I don't know, but this is the DaiKaiOh mode. And this is really cool. He's very, very accurate to the original figure, and he looks a lot better than the prototype images originally had him, just because at first it looked like all the faces were stickers, but they are fully sculpted and fully painted, which is just excellent. So in this mode, the East mode, he uses the claws as his attack. Now you can turn the dial here if you want, and then there's his south face, which uses his swords formed by the lobster head and antennae. And I'm not going to be replacing these as I go, I'm just going to throw them off to the side just because we have a lot to do here. So, but I like this mode. He looks pretty cool with the Samurai Megazord next to him. One big ass sword and two slightly smaller, yet no less awesome swords. So the third mode is West, which to do that you actually also have to fold these back and around. Then we'll rip the lobster tail off, plug it into his hand so he has a sort of steel fan. From what I saw in the footage, this one seemed like it was used more defensively. Like I saw a video montage of him deflecting a hail of arrows with his fan, which that's cool, even though this is executed not the best. But then of course the final mode is North, which involves combining with the Octozord. You rip off this part, plug it on his chest armor, and don't forget to fold those legs back up, and then the instructions have you just take this little nub and plug it into his hand. It looks awful and not accurate in the slightest. So just bring his hand forward a little bit. And it's weird that they would tell you to do that, yet still make it so that the legs peg together as they are supposed to. Although, I think that may also be for the Samurai Ha-Oh mode, because, I mean, there is that connector on Ika, but you can just open up that back panel and just kind of rest it on his hand, and that makes it work just fine the way it is supposed to look. So, and I like it a lot that he has, you know, the Gold Ranger uses his own thing, his own Busou Zord or whatever. But anyway, that is that. And we have just enough time left to get into the awesomest thing of all, which is his combination with the Samurai Megazord. So we're going to take those little bits, set them aside. So what you'll need to do here to get him ready is just rip his entire front section off, which will be his torso and his arms and his face. Set it down. We're going to pull the legs off. And with this backpack, we're going to fold these. I'm going to turn it like this so you can see all those symbols. And fold the legs as such. And then flip down the little mask, set it off. With each leg, you'll want to rotate the feet back around. Fold them at this sort of middle joint, and then rotate the leg and hip accordingly so that this gold bit is facing the same direction as the silver. So do that again. And then let's see here. We need Samurai Megazord. We'll take his helmet off and store it in the leg as is tradition. Glorious day for Canada and therefore the world. And then we'll fold his head in, rotate his body back, rotate these arms all the way around so that they're pointing straight down, and then actually rotate the fist on the pink Zord. We'll take the legs off. And then you want each leg to have, you want to attach the Clawzord legs so that all the silver and gold is facing forward when you attach it to Samurai Megazord legs. We'll just reattach him, gives him a little extra height. We'll take the torso piece, clip it onto the front, fairly secure, much more than, it's not the strongest hole, but it's more secure than I expected. The tail will plug onto the chest to form a very nice looking chest piece, actually. And you can store the swords in the Samurai Megazord's hands. And then the last bit is to take this helmet, just in front of these tabs here is a little slot, and you'll need to slot that in, and then it'll actually secure to these back ones. So just kind of slide it in. There we go. Clip it down. And there you have the very large, very imposing Ultimate Megazord, known as DaiKaiOh in Japan. This thing is just very, very awesome. It's very big, very imposing. It's actually almost as tall as the RPM Ultra Zord, which is nice because the Samurai Ha-Oh formation is not going to be much taller than this. It's just going to be immensely bulky, so it's good to see he looks about the right size. And you can just barely wedge the Daishinken in there if you so desire, but he is meant to hold these two smaller swords. So again, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you later.